Yo, hello! The new VGC rule set has been announced for Series 1. We are getting no Paradox Mons, no Ruined Legendaries, which the basic impact of this essentially means that we are going to be able to use a lot of like Pokemon that are probably wouldn't have seen as much play. Like for this is an easy mention, Skeledirge, Meowscarlet, all the starter evolutions become like a massively way more viable under this change. And we also will probably see a lot more rain because you don't have to worry about Iron Bundle as well. You have a lot less Pokemon you have to deal with. As you can see here, we got this through Pokemon Home this a little bit ago. And essentially, this Paradox Bond's gone, Ruined Legendary's gone, everything else is good. Of course, no Maridon either. You can still use like the Golden Boy, you can still use Grim, you can use all these Pokemon. This essentially is going to change team building a fair bit. As you can see, some of my builder there, a lot of my teams were a bit deleted. But yeah, I think one of the easiest concepts now is because we don't have to worry about Chi-Yu, we don't have to worry about Flutter Mane. I think Pokemon like Corviknight become a lot better. You probably will see some cores like this early on. This is a little starting core, or for example, and we'll see stuff like this. To give some little examples of how like team building is just gonna essentially change a lot. And not to mention, as I said earlier, rain will be a bit better because rain was kind of hard countered by Iron Bundle. Iron Bundle, of course, having freeze dry and simply being able to put a booster energy on it. Rain was completely like hard countered by this, but since that's no longer a thing, rain becomes like at least a little bit better. And we'll also probably see like usage out of Pokemon like, let's say, Meowscarlet, as I said earlier. Meowscarlet is now like really fast for this format, as the main things that threatened Meowscarlet were actually the simply Pokemon like Iron Bundle, your Chien Pals, your Flutters, and now that those are gone, it becomes a lot better as well. It's also notable for a Pokemon like Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel becoming one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, solid Tailwind user, solid Hurricane. You'd put this with like Garchomp and it'll be a very threatening Pokemon as well. So you just have like Kilowattrel Garchomp, and that's a little interesting core as well. And there's also probably some like balance Skeledirge Trick Room stuff on Skeledirge Mimikyu that will probably be a bit better as well. Of course, you can't use Iron Hands, but you still have Hariyama. Hariyama's still a pretty decent Pokemon. And we'll see a lot of concepts like this just as the meta develops, and we'll see like some interesting stuff around that. Notably as well, Snow is going to change. Instead, Abomasnow Titan will be the route instead of Abomasnow Iron Bundle. Sun will be Torkoal Logan again, surprise. Which this is actually a bit beneficial for Sun in a lot of ways, even though Sun won't be on as many teams. But the traditional Torkoal Logan comp will be a bit better because essentially you will be able to not have to worry about photosynthesis mons. Even though Torkoal will benefit a lot from having photosynthesis mons as partners, it was inevitably annoying for a Pokemon like Logan to have like a Flutter Mane just get a +1 speed boost and just destroy Logan for free. Or an Iron Bundle, for example, just getting a booster energy and this activated speed boost, and now Logan's no longer faster anymore. So it's stuff like that that will be pretty important to keep in mind with viability and how this could potentially shake up the meta a fair bit. And a lot of balance comps are going to change. I will say I think the Dragonite comp, well, Dragonite will still be a good Pokemon, don't worry. Even without Chien Pal, Dragonite still, this normal E-Speed is very powerful. You will have to rethink how you go about using Dragonite though, because Dragonite was like relatively dependent on Chien Pal, and every core around Dragonite happened to use Chien Pal at the same time, which is something you won't be able to do anymore, but it'll still be a pretty good Pokemon. Though notably now, I think it'll actually have to have used like Scarfers with like Garchomp as chip instead, and it will play that style instead of how it is currently. And then other than that, I would say, we'll get some more uses out of Pokemon like this, where you have Celadledge, you bulk up Bitterblade, Shadow Sneak, and you use this well defensive Clear Amulet core. Pokemon like Gyarados as well, setup Pokemon in general that are like frankly kind of countered by bundle will become a lot more relevant. Gyarados notable, Garchomp as I said earlier, but this set is like Swords Dance. Like all these setup mons become like a lot more interesting in the context of this, and that's something to keep in mind. Also notably Volcarona. Volcarona will be a pretty good Pokemon as well. There's a lot of very strong Pokemon that we have to consider in this metagame, and not to mention, just to add another one, Palmet will be a bit better with take out Double Shock, and now being actually like a very fast force in this metagame and being a fast electric type will be a bit more relevant. There are so many more many more Pokemon that are a lot more interesting now that Paradox Pokemon aren't legal. Annihilate will be pretty insane too. Like there's so much to talk about here. There's so much to talk about, but I'll leave it at that for now. This meta is going to be very hectic. No Paradox mons. Series 1 will begin on December 2nd. We'll be doing plenty of videos and plenty of content on like what kind of ideas end up working out. I do have some initial ideas. I kind of gave you a basic premise of how I think the meta is going to change a fair bit. We'll be more allowed to like run specific weather aligned comps, more allowed to run like stuff like Kilowattrel, some of the starters. Like there's a lot more Pokemon that become a bit more reasonable when you take away threats that are as powerful as Paradox Pokemon were. And this not having Ruin Legendaries as well opens the door for a lot of like dark type Pokemon that honestly could be a bit rough to place at times, because there's so many dark types in the meta. Like for example, as you just look on the screen as well, there's Hydreigon. Hydreigon will become a fair bit better. Salamence will become better. Hariyama is now relevant as well. King Gambit is a bit better as well as a dark type. Even like Eevee Bisharp. There's so many Pokemon that this gained this increased amount of viability. Gardevoir is a good example. Gardevoir was irrelevanted from Fluttermane's usage. Gardevoir is now a viable Pokemon. And there's a lot of the small stuff like that that you have to look out for. And I'll just leave it at that for now. Series 1, December 2nd, we'll be doing a big 24-hour stream on twitch.tv. You can watch it there. We'll have a lot of content on YouTube as well. Thank you for listening and watching and all that. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more VGC Series 1 content in the future. We'll be doing that basically every day, really. And it should be pretty fun.